Guys and dolls. So, because my, so I'll just explain about my leg. It's my hip. I'm having problems with my hip, and it's okay. I can get a walk an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and it starts to play up. And but sometimes it's really bad. It's like I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna bring this video from here. We'll have a wee rest today. Rested yesterday, but like I say, I did try to walk down to my local city to get to this appointment, and I couldn't do it. I had to walk back, and yeah, I think done a wee bit self a bit of damage, and it's agony. I can't explain it to you. And psychologically, guys, it's like it's getting me down because you know how much I love walking my dogs, So I'm not going to go into it. It's just something I'm dealing with right now. But I'm going to bring a wee I'll probably be bringing more videos from home than out walking just for now. So you know what's going on, and you're wondering why I'm not out walking. But this video, guys, is exactly what it says in the box. I'm going to prove to you that Starmer, Piers Morgan, and Nigel Farage are all lying to you. And it's fair enough, you know what I mean? A lot of people will like, oh, so what? But this is fucking really, really serious. We've got these people coming out over and over again and saying the exact same thing. Tommy Robinson almost collapsed the Muslim agreement gang trial of the Pakistani men. Piers Morgan has said it over and over again. Nigel Farage has said it over and over again. And of course, Starmer has said it over and over again. So let's have a look at exactly what Tommy Robinson did do. Did he nearly collapse? Surely all these very high fluent men are saying these things about Tommy. Surely they can't all be lying, can they? And if they are lying, why are they lying? This is the most important thing you got to understand. Why are all these people, that are power hungry? Because they are. They're all power hungry. These are narcissists, guys. These are egotistic narcissists on another level. Believe you me. Nigel Farage, especially. Why? Why are they lying to use? We'll cover that at the end. So, Nigel Farage, Piers Morgan, and Keir Starmer say that Tommy Robinson almost collapsed all these trials. So let's look at the first one that they're talking about. And the guy that I'm bringing to you, link will be in the description. And at the end, I'll fill up the wee box with his YouTube channel so anybody that can't do the description but will know exactly where to look. So let's begin with Contempt of Court 1.
Of bail. These first two contempt cases are from my series, The Real Tommy Robinson. Tommy has had 3 contempt of court cases. The first one was outside Canterbury Town Court, where he was attempting to film 4 Muslim defendants, accused of raping a 16-year-old girl. As it happens, they all were sent to jail for that rape. Tommy was surprised that given the DNA of all the 4 men had been found on the girl, that they'd be bailed, and were running the same shop that they were running before where they raped the girl.
So you see, some of you didn't know that, did you? These men get bail. These men get bail. Do you know why a lot of people don't get bail? So they can't do anything to the victims. So they can't force witnesses to change their mind. So they can't intimidate people. Most of these cases, every one of them got bail. And you heard they work in the same kebab shop where vulnerable children would be going, just like me when I was younger, you know. This is huge, guys. This is so big, it's unbelievable. But remember, Starmer, Farage, and Piers Morgan, I've been telling you lies. This is what this is about.
The problem was that other girls were still going into that shop, and so Tommy objected to the bail, and he wanted to expose it. He made the mistake of filming on the steps of the court, and to film on court property is against the law and is contempt. However, you will often see reporters reporting on the steps of a court, but with Tommy, it's against the law. But now, let's look at how months later he was arrested for this civil offence.
So, guys, Tim Poole, I'm going to put his picture up here of his YouTube channel. Please go on there and subscribe, and please leave some comments. I'm going to ask my guys to leave comments and ask him to watch this video because he needs to see this. Tim Poole, I'm sick of people coming from America and going on our shows and being told lies by Piers Morgan because the Americans don't know how to react because they haven't looked into it. So, Tim Pool, I'm looking into it for you. I'm going to show you how you are right and they are wrong. And this is their way of quieting you down from supporting a man who's tried to protect the children in this country. And you've also got to remember that Tommy Robinson was still a young man. He was new to this. He was working for Azrael Event at Rebel Media. And, he was dipping his toe in journalism. Yes, and he made a wee mistake about the steps. Fair enough. But you heard what the man said. It's only because it was Tommy Robinson. And let's be honest, there was no trial at risk. There was no chance of a retrial because of Tommy Robinson being on the steps. That's the honest truth. I'm telling you the truth here. It's Starmer, Farage, and Piers Morgan who are lying to you.
Your camera's on, that's fine. You're arrested on suspicion of contempt of court on the 8th of the 5th, 2017 at Canterbury Court.
So to be clear, Tommy Robinson in this case was simply pointing out that the bail conditions were allowing young girls to come into contact continually, and he actually had video footage of young girls going in and out of the premises where they had been raped in the past.
So again, guys and dolls and Tim, hope you see it, doubt it, but again, more evidence of the only person, the only journalist in Great Britain who could see what was going on and to see that the victims were still going through what they were going through, even after the men were charged and were looking at trial, they were still doing it, and everybody and their uncle could see it. But Tommy Robinson, Stephen Laxley Lennon, was the only man in the whole of Great Britain that was trying to alert the rest of the perils of these children. Again, all he was doing was protecting the children of your country, guys.
And don't forget, they were found guilty. The evidence was very clear. And so he was just pointing out the problem with being put on bail.
Sorry for jumping in like this all the time, but I just need to emphasise what he's saying. They had been found guilty. The trial was over. You understand? They were found guilty. In no way did Tommy Robinson jeopardise that trial like Starmer, Piers Morgan and Farage has lied to you about. This is just the first one. We're going to go through the two of them, not the other two.
And he was pointing this out to the public, really. So you can judge whether that deserves the sentence he got. Offence number 2. After checking with the policeman that he was not standing on a court property, and by the way, Tommy by this time had taken a course on contempt of court, Tommy set about reporting outside a grooming gang trial because nobody else was covering it.
Again, like I say, guys, he was new at it. He was learning, He'd made mistakes, but he hadn't jeopardised any trials. But he went and done a course just to make sure, you know what I mean? And you got to understand, just like the man says, the only reason Tommy was there was because there wasn't another single journalist in this country reporting on it. And do you know why there wasn't another single journalist reporting on it? And I'm going to stay with this because this is so interesting. You're going to see the comparison between Muslim, Pakistani grooming gang and a white British man, both for sexual offences. And I'm going to show you the comparison of how the media act outside the court at the end of this. But you got to understand this. Tommy's doing everything he can possibly to do things right. He's just trying to bring awareness to the rest of us. He's trying to bring awareness to families, mothers, fathers, grandchildren, grandfathers, grandmothers, that your children are at risk in Great Britain, your children are at risk in England. And because people were silenced and because the reporters weren't reporting on it, there was victims, more and more victims of these men because of the silence. And Tommy was trying to stop the victims. He was trying to stop it happening to any more children. That's all he was doing, guys. That's all he was doing. And he did ask a policeman, am I okay doing this? Is it okay if I do this? But listen to this one. If you think that one was bad, listen to this one that Starmer, Farage and Piers Morgan have told you that he nearly crumbled the trial. Because remember, this is what they're saying to you. This is their war cry every time somebody comes out and says something positive about, oh, how can you support Tommy Robinson? He almost collapsed. He's so much of a really good guy and wanting to protect these women that he almost collapsed the grooming trials. It's lies. He never. Watch.
There were no public around except the odd one passing by. He was not breaching any laws at all in this case, but that did not stop his arrest.
The content of what I'm streaming, I've been arrested for breach of the peace. I've been arrested for breach of the peace. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. Can you get me a solicitor? Can you get me a solicitor?
For you just to turn up.
Yes.
Now turning to the second contempt of court arrest. This was outside Leeds Crown Court, and I'm going to take you through the arrest in chronological order. After him not understanding the law with regards to filming on court property, those steps, Tommy went on a course, a legal course, to understand what contempt is. This taught him, obviously, not to stand anywhere on court property, so he checked with the police locally, there on the spot, that he was not on court property, and secondly it taught him that he could only read out what was already in the public domain. So what he read out was from his phone, and that phone was on the BBC website. So he was reading out already public information. He was not breaching the law, but that did not matter for what followed. The judge spotted him out of the window, broadcasting on his telephone from public land. Not an offence. But he sent the police down to arrest him for a totally trumped-up charge of disturbing the peace. He was standing there by himself with his phone. He wasn't disturbing the peace, and of course they never followed up with that charge. It was just a fake charge to get him off the street. It turned out he was to be jailed within 5 hours of being arrested, and he was jailed for contempt of court. In that proceeding, he was not told what he had said that was wrong. He was not allowed his own lawyer. He was not allowed any mitigation to explain. He was not even asked whether he wanted to plead guilty or not guilty. It did not matter. He was going to go to jail within that 5 hours. He was also denied full access to his appeal lawyers. These are facts as listed by the Court of Appeal when they granted him a new trial. Tommy was jailed on a Friday, and there was a bank holiday Monday following that Friday, so the court convened again on the Tuesday, when the defence lawyers of that grooming gang claimed that Tommy had prejudiced the trial. But the judge and the CPS had over the weekend actually seen what Tommy had transmitted and confirmed that there was no prejudicial statements issued by Tommy. Tommy Robinson did not prejudice the trial.
So, guys, I shouldn't be the one bringing this to yous. I shouldn't be the one pointing out to yous that Starmer, Piers Morgan and Nigel Farage are lying to the British public. You know, these are the facts. These are the truth of what happened. Tommy Robinson did not do any damage to them trials. They are lying to you. But anyway, so the judge and all that came back and said, no, he never, there was no harm done. What do you think happened? Watch.
But that judge still left him in jail. When the judge had Tommy's statement with all these facts in that retrial, he referred the matter up to the Attorney General. This, of course, only came out much later, after the Court of Appeal granted Tommy a retrial. Because the fact is that the state had totally mucked this up. So with Tommy in jail, this went to appeal, and the appeal court released him immediately and cleared up all those points. They accepted all those points. This was a total travesty of justice, completely. But it then was referred up to the Attorney General, who arranged another trial. Now,
so basically what's happened is the law worked. Our normal court system worked. But the government weren't happy. The government still wanted him. So they moved it to the Attorney General, who is the government. Now, you got to understand, Tommy has never been tried in front of his peers. He's never had a jury. The only people putting Tommy in prison are the judges that work for the government. The government tell the judges exactly what they want to do, whether you're innocent or you're guilty. If they want you in prison, you're going to prison. If they want you found guilty, you will be found guilty by the judge. In every single one of these cases, it was clear that Tommy Robinson was not guilty, and he was still found guilty. And, you know, this speaks volumes. You know, the establishment are the ones that are deciding that Tommy goes to prison. It's the establishment that's deciding who says all these bad things about Tommy. Anybody that tells you that Tommy Robinson tried to break up or nearly destroy the trial is working directly with the establishment. You got to understand, this is a point I'm trying to get across. You get me? Yous are all being fooled. Reform voters, yous are all being fooled.
I want to point something out here very clearly. What Tommy was doing outside Leeds Court was commenting from and quoting from the BBC Public Information website. He actually made a video saying he can't release the full details. He can't do that because he has to wait 6 months, because that trial's linked to another trial. There's 2 or 3 trials going on, and he couldn't release that. All he could give you was public information. He did approach some of the defendants going into court because the trial was over. This is really important.
Again, guys, the trial was over again. Can you understand? You cannot do any damage to a jury or to a trial once it's over. Once the jury and judges came back with a guilty, boom, you're done. You're done out the door. You know what I mean? There's nothing anybody can say or do that's going to change that. So these are really bad lies that you're being told about Tommy Robinson, because it's all they've got. It's all they got. I can break down every single thing that Starmer, Nigel Farage and Piers Morgan are saying about Tommy Robinson and prove to use that they are lying to use. I can do that. I'm just a guy with no education, never went to school, spent most of his time in prison, been in care, been abused. Fucking, who am I to be telling you the facts of life, the truth of Great Britain, and pointing out the lies of the people who you think are going to save you, when they're just the same as Starmer and every other government? Anybody that goes against Tommy Robinson like this is working for the establishment. Get that into your heads. Please, guys, please. You are going to destroy your country if you don't get this right.
The trial was over. It was a sentencing session. So they were being sentenced. So he was saying things, have you got your prison bag there ready, etc. And he was fairly polite. But in Britain, our reporters and the mainstream media stand all the time around defendants going into court. This defendant, I'm going to show you now, is a very big public figure from the BBC, the sort of commentator who covers the Queen's funeral and so on.
This part of the video was huge. This part of the video I need you to pay attention to, because this is why Tommy Robinson was doing this. This is why Tommy Robinson was there. Tim, this is why he is our hero. This is a difference how our media deal with British sex offenders and Pakistani Muslim sex offenders. I'll let you make your own decision of why that is.
Very famous, highly paid person, and he was guilty of child pornography, having photographs of despicable things being done to young children. Yes, and he actually pleaded guilty to this. And so as he was going in for sentencing, etc., there were lots of comments right in his face from reporters. But Tommy's not allowed to do that. It's one rule for one and another rule for Tommy. And Tommy's in a unique class of his own for the rules they allow on him. So that's where we are there. And here is just a clip of what is normal in outside court.
Do you have anything you want to say this morning before the court appearance, Mr. Edwards?
How are you feeling?
Get back!
Right, get back.
Go this way.
How are you feeling, Mr. Thank you very much.
So all Tommy was doing was what the reporters do, and he was asking people who'd already been found guilty and waiting sentence and going in to be sentenced, just like that famous broadcaster there was going to be sentenced, asking them questions, as it were. And there was no trouble. There were no other people around, and the case was over. And don't forget, completely clear that he hadn't interfered with the trial. Who by? By the CPS and by the judge themselves. They had not interfered with the trial in any way, but they were determined to get him. So what happened then after the Attorney General came back at him and got a new trial, even after all those injustices I've just listed, which the appeal court agreed on? So there was a retrial, and this is what the result was. And this is, I'm quoting this officially, I'll read it out for you. Tommy Robinson faces jail after being found in contempt of court by High Court judges for filming defendants in a criminal trial and broadcasting the footage on social media. The 2 senior judges, and by the way, Tommy's never been tried by a jury.
Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to cut it off there. I want you to go and watch the full video, because you need to watch it. You need to see the lies that you're being told by the establishment puppets. These are guys that are being held like puppets from the establishment. These are the people that want to rule the world. These are the people that want to destroy our country. These are the people who have planned the irregular um, immigration and basically destroying our country from inside out. And, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see these people lie about Tommy. It's heartbreaking to know that they're all saying the exact same thing. Now, when somebody says the exact same thing, that means they're getting it from a script. Who's writing that script? Obviously, it's the establishment. It's the people at the top. The people who want it's who they want in power. You understand? They want Nigel Farage in power because they know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to do nothing for you. He's going to do nothing that you think he's going to do. If he did, he would be speaking like me. He would be saying, you know what, guys? Starmer's wrong. They're all wrong about Tommy. Tommy's actually an absolute diamond of a guy who's done nothing but fight for the children in this country. And you know what? He didn't actually break down any childs, or was he even at a chance of breaking down any childs? So that's two contempt of courts. There's a third one. But we all know that one, silenced. If you don't watch the video, silenced. So they're going to say, but the judge found him guilty. Okay, a judge, not a jury, a judge, right? That was told by the establishment, just like the other judges. Do what we tell you. It's the film proves that Tommy's right. The film proves that young man was an absolute rebel. He was a really bad young boy. He was bullying, threatening children, threatening girls. It was horrific. We've seen how everybody was silenced. We've seen how everybody was paid off. We've seen how everybody was terrified of the repercussions of what community that came out and protested outside the school and protested outside the police station. We've seen how the government raised them up on a pedestal, had him in the European courts or had him in the House of the Parliament and all that. So it's obvious that they made a big mistake and they couldn't backtrack. So the only thing they can do is make Tommy out to be a liar, even though 1.1.5 million people. Is it 1.5 million? No, sorry. 150 million people have watched Silenced. Am I right? Is it that much? I'll need to research that. I'll add a wee bit in if I'm right or wrong. So, guys, this isn't just about proving to you that Tommy Robinson should never have went to jail and all them in cages. This is a video to prove to you that Nigel Farage is no different than Starmer, Sunak, and every other Prime Minister. He is the establishment, and he is telling you exactly what you want to hear, and he's going to play the game. And it won't be till after he's elected him that you're going to see the truth. You're going to see the real man. And then this is what's going to happen, just like Brexit. Once he gets Prime Minister, once he's got that label, I was a Prime Minister, he's going to stand down and then he's going to step back, something to do with me, just like Brexit. And we've seen how Brexit went. So you've got examples of how this man works. You know exactly he's a banker, he's a multimillionaire. You know that he got attacked by the top, the establishment attacked him by thinging his bank. That was a shot across the bows. They put him in line, he's now in line. They want him and they want him. They want Labour in charge, but their B game, their B plan is Farage, right? Their B game isn't UKIP. Their B game isn't anybody that's going to be truthful and honest with the British public. Their B game is Nigel Farage and Reform. Reform is just the Tories. I've told you that, and it's just going to fill up with Tories, and they're going to smile and give you all that and drink the old pints in the pub and come across as a working class guy, Lee Anderson, all the rest of them. They're going to be so convincing because they're good. They want this so much, and they're going to do whatever the establishment want them to do. It's not what you want. Even though we all watch Silence and we all know Tommy Robinson is our hero, that doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is the people that can actually get them in the power, and that's the establishment. To Nigel Farage, we're easy. We're easy. He can just say a few things and, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Yeah, and I'm your man. I'm here for yous. And everybody goes, yeah, because yous are desperate. There's nobody else. Yous are thinking, what about you? And that's what they've got. That's the thing, And please believe me, there's going to be more and more stuff comes out about Nigel Farage and the way he works and how he is and all that. But it's still not going to change their minds because he's desperate. You just don't think there's anywhere else to go. What chance have he got? I don't know what the answers are, guys. I can't bring the answers to you here. I'm not intelligent enough. All I can tell you is what I see and what I know in my heart as a person reader, as a very good person reader. Techniques that have got me through life in very dangerous situations, learning to read people, learning to read people's expressions and how they behave. And I can say without doubt that Nigel Farage is an enemy of this country and he's playing a very clever game to get the power that he wants. And that's all it is. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about me. If he did, he wouldn't be lying about Tommy. It's as simple as that. These are the facts. This is the truth. They're all lying to you. And I could go on and on and on. The policeman that they said he attacked, the policeman was undercover. Tommy didn't know he was a policeman. The policeman goaded him. You're in a pub and you're missing some guy starts giving it that, bang. Next thing you're getting done for hitting a copper. Come on, guys. It's all smoke and mirrors. Mortgage fraud. He was helping his cousin out. He was being nice, kind. Something that most people do. 80%, 70% people lie on mortgage forms. You know what I mean? Going to America. He wouldn't have got into America anyway, so he used a different ID. So what? So what? This is what they're throwing against our hero, against the only man that stood outside them courts, the only man that put his head above the parapet, that let you know that this country is being destroyed by people that are coming into it, that hate us, hate our children. And the racial element behind these attacks on our children are absolutely horrific. And I promise you guys, if you knew exactly what happened to them girls, if you knew the truth, the things that I can't tell you, I've never heard anything like this in my life. And I've been around some bad men. And I promise on my mother's grave, I have never heard things done to girls like this ever in my life. And if you knew this, because Faraz knows it, it'd be a total different ballgame. He'd be wondering why Faraz is wanting to beg him. And yes, he does. Listen, see, unless Faraz says, no, I don't want her back in the country, then that means he's quite happy with her coming back in the country. That's it. Layman's terms, working man's terms. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it. There's no, let's not look in deep dive it. You don't need to. Did he say, no, I don't want her back, like the rest of the governments have said? No, he hasn't. Right? So, therefore, he doesn't care if she comes back or not. That woman should not come back in this country. She was involved in some horrible atrocities of things that happened that I cannot tell you about on this, obviously for YouTube, that happened in them countries. That she was part of the police, the women police, the Muslim police, whatever it is they call them, that make sure other women are covered up and they're not showing it. That's who this person is. That's who she is, okay? And other governments have stopped her coming here for a reason. You understand? Because she'll just become a big, massive YouTuber and she'll be the voice of extremism in Great Britain. And she'll probably end up running for Parliament. You know what I mean? She will. And they'll all vote for her. They will all vote for her. And that's why we say no. And that's why Nigel Farage won't say no. So June Slater can bring out the videos all she wants. All it does to me is emphasise even more how Nigel Farage is not the man for us. And yes, I'm not an angel. Yes, on record I look terrible, right? But I can explain everything that the government have say about me, when the truth comes out, you'll be horrified because I've got the receipts, I've got the proof. You know what I mean? I've got my whole life, my friends, everybody's been with me since day dot that are still there today. Will speak up for me. I've got social work that are still alive, that when my mum was alive, that went through it all with me. I've got foster family and that were there, that are still here, that went through stuff with me. So I've got too many voices that will back me up. And I'm just waiting to see who's going to come out and throw the first shot at me. Because, we'll see what happens after that. That's all I'm going to say, because I've got the receipts. If anybody's got a problem with me, if you've got any doubts about me, contact me privately. Don't destroy your YouTube channel. You know what I mean? That's all I'm going to say to you. Because I've never done a bad thing to anybody apart from bad people. And I'm a bank robber. Fair enough. You know what I mean? And I've addressed that, and I have addressed that. And I have remorse for that, But it doesn't mean my voice doesn't mean anything at all, just because I've done some wrong. I got brought up in Northern Ireland, a really, really dangerous place to live as a wee boy. And I was brought up by older men. I was brought up by the paramilitaries. And, it took me a long time, to get myself away from that way of life. And I'm a better man now because I'm glad I went through these experiences, because it gives me more evidence and more strength to talk to you about stuff like this, guys, and I don't expect you all to follow me and love me and all the rest of it. I just expect you to listen, do your own research. I'm begging you for the sake of your country, guys and dolls in England, please do not be fooled by Farage. Everybody that's sticking up for him right now, they're all part of the hunger. They all want the power. They're all following Nigel Farage in the power. This is what it does to people. You know, Tommy Robinson is a hero. And see the guys, the politicians that say that, they're the ones that aren't controlled by the establishment. It's as simple as that. I keep telling you, judge who you're voting for on their attitude towards Tommy Robinson. Nigel Farage has made it clear over and over again. Not only that, but he's also turned around and said that he's a woman beater. Like, that is the most disgusting thing. Deplorable to say. I'm one man saying of another man, but this is what he was told to say by the establishment. You've got to understand this. This is who Nigel Farage is. Listen, guys. Sorry about that. Listen, guys. All my love. Please go to this guy's channel. Please watch the rest of it, and you'll understand. Then, if you're a Nigel Reform, there you go. If you're a Nigel Reform person, watch it, guys. Watch it, and then ask Nigel why he lied. You know, just ask him why you lying to us. Why you lying about Tommy Robinson? All this stuff that you are going on about that he done, it's nowhere near as bad as what you are making out. He knows this. They all know this. Piers Morgan knows this. Birds of a feather flock together. It's one of my favourite sayings. They are all your enemy, these guys. I promise you. For the future of Britain, for the future of your children, the future of your grandchildren, make sure you know who you're voting for. God bless every single one of you.
So it comes back to this. If Piers or anybody else wants to insult Tommy, my response is, so what? I don't know. I don't care. Explain to me why the one guy that was leading rallies to call out the systemic rape of children was getting locked up and silenced and put in jail. Why weren't you doing it? Why wasn't the UK government doing it? Why weren't the cops doing it? Why was it Tommy Robinson? Oh, he's a con artist? Well, whoop-de-freaking-do. At least we had one con artist, according to you, willing to speak up and inform someone like me. So, I'll say it again. I like Piers. I really do. I've been on a show several times. I look forward to going on again. And maybe he just doesn't understand. Maybe he's wrong. Maybe it's intentional. I don't know. But don't you get it? This is why I don't believe you. The things they were doing to these children, man. These transcripts that came out. They fill me with a rage I have never experienced. The horrors. Man, there's so much dirty stuff in this world. And you say Tommy's a con artist. Fine. Whatever. At least I can thank the con artist for letting me know. Because I would not have known about this if it were not for him.